Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ange if you haven't met me before, and today we're going to be doing a updated complete houseplant tour. So this video is definitely quite requested. I have done a houseplant tour about a year ago, and I have been putting off doing another one because it just takes such a long time to film. But I thought it would be a good idea to do an updated tour before it gets too cold, because we are getting into those cooler months in Australia at the moment. So if you want to see what plants I have currently in my house, then definitely keep on watching. And I would suggest getting a snack, getting a coffee, because I feel like this is going to be quite a long video. So let's just jump into it. Alright, so this is the view of my apartment when you enter it. I'm right by the front door, so I thought that I would give you a tour of my indoor jungle starting from the beginning. So on the left hand side over here, I have this like shoe cabinet thingy, and it is a very, very low light spot, so I'm sorry if it is a little bit dark at the moment. And I only keep two plants here which are quite low light tolerant. This one on the left is the traditional snake plant, and it doesn't really grow too much in this spot, but it does survive, but it does add that nice pop of greenery in that really dark area. Next to my little cash bowl where I have all of his leads and things, I have my philodendron Rojo Congo. So this guy again doesn't grow really quickly in this little area, but I do think it tolerates this low light spot really nicely. This guy had thrips about a week ago, so I do believe I have eradicated all the thrips, but you know, it is a bit thrip damaged at the moment, but hopefully it recovers soon. Over on the left hand side of my apartment, I have another plant in a low light spot. This is my largest Monstera deliciosa. I started this guy pretty much all from propagations I took from a large plant outside at Stephen's mum's house, and it has now grown into this luscious, beautiful plant. I have just moved this plant to this spot. I am wanting to find another home for it because I know it's not going to thrive in this low light space, but for now, this is where it's living. We are now moving over to this Ikea Vittsjo unit that I set up about a few months ago now. I do have a video all about that. An update on these lights is that they are definitely not bright enough, and the plants that are under it are not growing as fast as I would like them to. So at the moment I am saving up a bit of money to get some new lights, but I will keep you guys updated when that happens. But on the top of the unit, I have just some dried native Australian plants on the left that my mom gave me. And then over on this side, we have a Syngonium white butterfly, which is not doing the best because it's quite dark up the top there. But you know, it just has that little pop of greenery that I like. On the first shelf of the Ikea unit, I have this absolutely beautiful begonia. It has this intense coloration with this purple green. It is a Rex begonia. I think it's called Flamingo Soul, but that is what it looks like, and I absolutely love it. Next to that, I have some Begonia Bill Morris propagations. They have been in water for a few weeks now, and I would say they are pretty ready to root up, so I might do that within the next few days. Over here I have a little peperomia. This is a Peperomia piccolo banda, but I do believe it's not getting enough light because the leaves are so tiny, the veins aren't that great. Like if you see a normal piccolo banda, the veining on the leaves is a lot more striking. So hopefully when I add some extra lights, this guy will recover nicely. Next to that, I have a Monstera adansonii. This is the monkey mask variety, which is a little bit more like clumping than your typical adansonii. So that is a plant I really like there. In the front here, I have a Hoya. This is a Hoya cinnamonifolia, I believe. It has some really nice basic green leaves, and this one I find grows pretty quickly. really easy to take care of as well. In the back here, I have a Syngonium Wendlandii, and this one has some beautiful like velvety leaves to it with this striking white veining in the center of the leaf. It is absolutely stunning, and I found this so easy to propagate. This is another Hoya. This is a Hoya Acuta Pink. It is not looking that pink on the splashing at the moment because, again, it is not that bright of a light, but it is doing fine in this area and it is putting out some new growth, which is nice to see. The last plant on this shelf is this Philodendron Campos Portuanum, which has juvenile leaves that come out looking more like a Philodendron micans, and then they morph into this really cool like tri-lobed leaf looking plant here. That is a plant that I absolutely love. At some point I want to put that on a totem because it's just kind of vining all over the place at the moment. So on the second shelf of the Ikea unit, we have this Philodendron at the back here. This is a Hartley Philodendron, the gold or the neon, I'm not sure exactly what it's called. This plant has never thrived in my care. I've given it low light, I've given it high light, and it always just sticks out these really small leaves. So I might banish it outside and see what happens. Next to that, I have a little watermelon peperomia propagation. This one my mom actually made. It's actually quite thirsty, I can feel. So if you want to know if your watermelon pep needs water, the leaves just get so soft. So I will be watering that one today. Next to that pep is another peperomia, which is Peperomia turboensis. It is also called a red watermelon, and putting these leaves next to each other, you can kind of see that they are quite similar, but different coloring. This one I find is a bit more of a vining plant in comparison to the traditional watermelon peperomia. At the back here, I have a Pilea peperomoides. This was a pup from my mother plant. It is getting so thirsty. I can see the bottom leaves like yellowing at the moment, so I will be needing to give all of these plants a water very soon. Over in this section, I have my stunning, beautiful, gorgeous, can't say enough things about it, the Philodendron verrucosum, which I got recently and I showed you in a plant haul. It is doing wonderfully under these lights because I have heard that the Philodendron verrucosum is not a huge fan of really bright light, and it is now putting out a new leaf. I am so excited for this one. In the back here, I have a little baby Philodendron Prince of Orange, and hence the name. It comes out with these beautiful orange leaves when they are just unfurling. It is such a striking color. And the last plant on this shelf is the Philodendron micans I have chopped and propped this many times, but the leaves are getting so teeny tiny. So I did see a video from Plant Life in the Tropic. She was chatting about putting Philodendron micans along a like wooden pole or a wall. So I might actually give that a go soon to get these leaves looking nice and large, because look how just pitiful that is. On this third plant shelf down here on the left, we have this beautiful Philodendron Burley Marks. This is just the traditional Burley Marks. It's not variegated or anything, but it has these beautiful, very uniquely shaped leaves that I'm in love with, and it grows so beautifully under these lights. This plant next to it is another peperomia. I always forget the name. I say it's like a parallel peperomia, but I know that's wrong. So I will try and figure that out and let you know, but it is a very easy care plant. Next to that, I have two plants in one pot. This is a Hoya species Affinity Burtonii, or commonly known as Hoya honeydew. And then I have this plant in there as well, which is a Dischidia ovata, or a watermelon Dischidia. They're very similar plants, so I find that potting them together is not really a big deal. Over in the back here, I have a Hoya in water. It was struggling, so at the moment it is in water, and this is a Hoya acuta variegata, I believe. This little peperomia at the front is a silver ripple, I believe, but under these lights it's losing its silveriness and it's going a bit more green, but that's okay. It still looks super cute. And in this front section, I have a little propagation that I made of the Begonia maculata whitei. It has the beautiful red backs on the leaves and the beautiful polka dots at the front. Over in the back here is a Stromanthe tricolor, which has, again, the beautiful red on the backs. This is a plant that I never ever get along with very well, and it kind of just survives, but definitely does not thrive. And on the last shelf of this Ikea unit, on the left here, I have a Calathea makoyana, which is absolutely stunning with its hand-painted looking leaves. I have some propagations of some Marble Queen pothos that, again, I think are pretty much ready to pot up. At the back here, I do have a Philodendron Pink Princess that is pretty much not pink, but this is the newest leaf, so there is some hope there. I just find that it mostly puts out burgundy leaves. This was a little bit of leaf damage, but we're just gonna see how it goes. Over in this section, I have a caladium growing here. Don't mind the dead leaf. This is, I kept this here, it's a caladium. I didn't write this. I got this from Foliage Freak, so I will try and decipher that later on. But it is a beautiful plant. I do have another Hoya here. I think this is a Hoya erythrostemma, I believe, but another just classic green Hoya. And the last plant I have on my Ikea unit is this Schismatoglossus wallichii, which has some just insane foliage. I absolutely think this is stunning. It did suffer from some spider mites very recently, so it has a bit of damage, but you know, she's doing fine. So just on my dining table, I do have some Australian native flowers there. And we will go have a little look in my Mars Hydro grow tent. So I will just open that up. All right, so this is inside my tent. It gets very steamy and hot in here, and the plants just absolutely thrive. I am such a fan of this tent. I did get it sent to me, but I would definitely recommend getting one. They're really not very attractive looking in the house, but they are insanely great for plant growth. All right, so we're gonna start on the left-hand side, and this is a Alocasia dragon scale, and then we have a beautiful silver dragon Alocasia next to it. Oh, I absolutely love looking at these two together. We then have a Philodendron gigas that I am rooting up in some perlite. I think it is starting to root up now, but I haven't checked on the actual roots in a little while. I then have a Monstera pinnati partita in the corner there that is growing beautifully. I have an Alocasia cuprea, which has these intensely beautiful ab-shaped leaves, and they're red. Like, that is stunning. This plant here is a Philodendron mame. Again, had some spider mites. I have treated it, and it is just recovering at the moment. I have a Hoya Hindu rope. This is the outside variegated version. And before, when I had this growing outside of the grow tent, it was doing absolutely nothing. And since putting it in the grow tent, I'm pretty sure it's put out all of this in a few months. So I'm really happy with that. This one here is a Philodendron gloriosum with its beautiful heart-shaped leaves. That is definitely one of my favorites. Underneath here, I have a Philodendron mexicanum. Mine is still quite a juvenile form of the plant. Over here, I have another caladium. I think this is a Carolyn Horton caladium, I think, but I'm absolutely not sure. In the back here, I have a Philodendron pastazanum. It is absolutely stunning. Look at those leaves. So beautiful. Next to that, I have an Alocasia green shield, which looks quite similar to like just a normal green Alocasia, but it has this nice like shadowing on it. Back here I do have another caladium, but I am absolutely not sure of this type. It did have a lot more like white leaves when I first got it, but now the leaves are going back to green, so I'm very unsure if it needs less light than this maybe. And the last plant I have in my tent is this absolutely beautiful Hoya obovata Splash, and oh, this is one of my favorites. So now we have my little TV setup area that has a lot more plants. I won't be doing outside on my balcony because I have done a video on what's on my balcony, so I'll link that in the cards if you want to see that. Don't mind my drying clothes just there. But over by the TV, we have on this side a Syngonium 3 Kings with its absolutely beautiful variegation. I want to actually give this plant a lot more light because it is quite leggy looking, and I think it would look beautiful if it had a lot more light. Next to it, I have one of my Syndapsis pictus plants. I think this is the Exotica version. I'm not actually quite sure which variety it is, so if you know, then definitely let me know, but look at that stunning leaf. Underneath that, I have my Hoya Crimson Queen with its beautiful variegation on the inside of the leaf. And just underneath on the floor here, I have this Ficus umbellata that's quite new in my collection, and it's definitely an underrated ficus, I think. Don't mind all my cables. I was playing Animal Crossing right before filming this video, so I haven't popped that away yet. But this giant beauty here is called a Philodendron Narrow, and it is massive. So you can just see how big these leaves are. Very beautiful serrated leaves. Over here I have a Hoya, I think it's an Obscura, but I'll have to check that. I wanted it because it gets a really nice veining when it's sun stressed, and my goodness did I try and sun stress this bad boy, but it just kept putting out green leaves, so it is now just put in a moderate light area and banished because it really disappointed me. Next to that I have a Philodendron Brazil, which is quite long and traily, and that just lives right next to the window. Over in this corner here, I have quite a large Philodendron Silver Sword. So I have planted a few different propagations and plants into the bottom, and I'm hoping this will get nice and big and bushy. This is where that giant Monstera lived, but I wanted to put the Silver Sword here to get more light. On the floor here, I have my Philodendron Birkin, which I absolutely love, and it put out this weirdly variegated leaf, so I'm not sure if it's gonna try and revert on me or not, but I don't really mind. And we have just the beautiful whitish kind of leaves that are fresh when they come out. This guy is my big boy. This is my biggest Hoya I have in my collection. It is just a traditional Hoya obovata, and you know, it has a lot of peduncles. So just to show you, we've got one here and we've got one here, but it has not flowered for me. So come on, man. I give you light, I give you fertilizer, just flower for me. All right, and next to the couch here, I have a caladium. This one, oh my goodness, I was cleaning the house and I was like cleaning underneath the couch cushions and stuff, and I just dropped one of the heavy couch cushions on it, so it completely got smushed and broken. So I'm so sorry, but this was beautiful before I did that. And then this is my giant Monstera adansonii, and I have this up a totem pole, which is getting a little bit heavy and full, so I might have to repot it at some point. The giant plant over here is my Philodendron bipenifolium, or I believe they call it the horsehead philodendron. I prefer the name bipenifolium, but it is absolutely stunning. It has these very uniquely shaped leaves, and I started this as a propagation that I bought for $5 on the side of the road. And the very last plant I have in my living room is the mama plant of my Begonia maculata, which has gotten quite large now, but has suffered from some, what's it called, powdery mildew a few times. So she's doing well, but definitely has some imperfect leaves. Now we are going into my kitchen, which again, like the living room, is southwest facing. So it gets a lot of bright light in the afternoon. So starting next to the stove area, I have this begonia here. I think this is the snow-capped begonia, I believe, but again, I will double check. It's got these beautiful variegated leaves. Up here in the low light spot, I have this Pothos Snow Queen, or I believe you guys in the US call it the Pothos Enjoy. So that is a stunner. Next to that, I have one of my absolute favorite plants ever, which unfortunately got burnt while I was cooking. And this is the Philodendron squamiferum. And it has these insanely gorgeous furry petioles. It's one of my favorites for sure. Closer to the window, I have this Dieffenbachia, which I never got a formal ID for even when I bought it, but it is absolutely beautiful. I have some Syngonium Fantasy or variegated Syngonium propagations. I just like to cut these a lot and then either add it to my mother plant or sell them off. Over here I have a beautiful Frida Kahlo pot. It is so stinking cute. And this is a Peperomia Napoleonites. I then have this newish plant to my collection. This is a Anthurium polyschistum, I think it's pronounced, with these really interesting palmate leaves. Here I have my Monstera siltepecana. I do believe this is the El Salvador version because it has these beautiful silvery tint to the leaves. It did, again, I think, have some sort of pest. I never actually saw pests, but you know, a lot of the leaves were yellowing and things, so it's treated now, but we're hoping that it recovers soon. Hanging up in this window is my gorgeous Tradescantia tricolor. It does need some trimming of things that have kind of browned off, but we have some really nice pink and white and green leaves. I would recommend giving this a haircut more often than I do if you want to keep it looking nice and bushy. On the windowsill here, I have this beautiful burro's tail, which always gets knocked and I lose the leaves, but then I either just chuck it in the top here or out on my balcony on the little succulent arrangement. Next to that, I have this, which is a Hoya fungii, and I absolutely love this one. The leaves are so cool looking and they're very like fat, which I just love. Next to that, I have a little lithops or a little butt plant. We also have another Hoya here. This is a Hoya lacunosa Eskimo. I did start this from 2 plants that I purchased separately, and then I just took a lot of propagation. So it is a nice full bushy plant. Next to the sink here, I have a Peperomia Mendoza, and I do have a Peperomia Pink Lady, which has lost her pink, which is a little bit disappointing. Over here, I just have some random seeds that I got from a grocery store growing. This is an aster plant, and we have my carnivorous plants here. So this is my monkey cups, and this is my sundew plant, and I like to keep these filled up. So I filled this up this morning and it drank it all, so I will probably refill it after this video. And the last plant on the windowsill is this variegated string of pearls, and I can say this is such a slow grower in comparison to the normal string of pearls. I have a really large one outside now, and yeah, there's just no competition. In this little darker corner, I have another watermelon peperomia, which is beautiful. We have this bird's nest anthurium here, which I believe is called an Anthurium hookeri. I just moved that so you can see the rest. I have another begonia here. I'm not sure what this is called. I got given this as a gift and it didn't say what variety it was. And then we have my big monster of Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. She is a beast and I love her. And then the last plant I have up here is a Hoya Potziai Chiang Mai. All right, we are in the second last room of the house. This is my bathroom. So again, it is southwest facing, and I'll give you a little overview. This little shelving unit here is another shelving unit I got from Ikea. It is just an over the toilet shelving unit and I love it to make my bathroom feel like a jungle, but it has fell on me more than once, which was quite terrifying. So do not do what I do and not attach it to the wall. I would definitely recommend safety first. But over on this side, we have my Spathiphyllum domino, which has a little bit of variegation, not so much like the Picasso peace lily. Here we have another Pilea peperomoides, which loves to spit out new babies. Next to that, I have some propagations of a Syndapsus pictus plant. I have these pretty much going all the time. And next to that, I have this beautiful peperomia string of turtles. To be honest, this is one of the peperomias that I struggle with. I find that they rot off at the top very quickly and yeah, it doesn't ever look that glorious, but I love it. It just doesn't love me. Next to that, I'm sorry if it's a bit backlit, I'll bring this down a bit. This is a stunning Alocasia amazonica. I've had this for about 2 years now and it is just beautiful. It does always get spider mites, so I have to treat it all the time, but I still love it. And the last plant on the windowsill is this Hoya Hindu rope. She is quite a big girl and it is absolutely stunning. We have many different trails in here because I have propagated it before. Right, starting on the bottom of this Ikea over the toilet cabinet thingy is this crocodile fern, which if you know my videos, I always talk about how much I love this plant. It is pretty much the only fern I like. Over here is an anthurium. I think this is the Anthurium brownii. So it is just a little baby at the moment. Here I have another Hoya. This is Hoya publicalis. I think it's called jungle green, I remember, but it does have a nice splashy leaf. And the last plant on this shelf is this Calathea. I do believe this is the Calathea rattlesnake, and it has some really nice red leaves on the back. And I find this the easiest Calathea ever to take care of. Up one more shelf is this Syngonium. This is the Syngonium batik, which I think is such an underrated Syngonium. Look at that foliage. It's just so pretty and striking, and they're actually just not very expensive when I see them online. So that is one that I absolutely love. Here we have another caladium. Again, I don't know the name of this caladium. I'm not really great at names for caladiums, but they are absolutely gorgeous. This is a little baby of an Alocasia balaeoanum. Very, very slow grower, so that's been a baby for quite a while. Here we have a pretty much dead cissus discolor that, you know, I just keep there because sometimes it sprouts off leaves and then just drops them again. It's a very fussy plant, that one. And over here, speaking of fussy plants, this is a heartleaf fern. I've tried 2 of these and both of them look like this. They are not happy. On the top shelf here, I have a Anthurium vitarifolium with its beautiful strap-like leaves. We do have a Calathea orbifolia, which just had thrips as well. So that is definitely in recovery. We have another Syndapsis pictus or satin pothos, and this is just my biggest one and my pride and joy. The last plant I have in my bathroom is this beautiful, gorgeous pothos marble queen. And this is just a gorgeous plant, especially for the price. You can get this for like $15. And I started mine off as 2 plants that was about 4 leaves big, and we now have this bad boy. I'll bring it down so you guys can see it. So this is how full and bushy it is. Honestly, you can just always chop and prop just to make it bushy and full, and you'll have a beautiful plant in no time. We are now in the last room of my house, which is the bedroom. And this is the only room that is not southwest facing. This is southeast facing. So this is a quick overview of my bedroom. And I think I will start off with the plants that are right next to my bed. So over on this side, I have another Mars Hydro Grow Light, which I love. It is so, so awesome. And on the top of this little Kmart bookshelf thing I have is an alocasia. I never know how to pronounce the name, so I will just leave it on screen. But it's just your classic green alocasia. Down here we have a Hoya Crimson Queen. This is the Purple Pride variety because it comes out with these intensely like magenta leaves, which is really fun. Next to the unit, I have my big boy Syngonium Fantasy, and I just love it. And look at these beautiful half and half leaves. It's coming out with a lot of white leaves, but you know, she can do her own thing. I just kind of let her grow. All right, and down here is my little Hoya growing space. These 2 plants at the front are both Hoya Finlaysonii. It was on my wish list for a long time, and I first got the small one, and then I found this big one in store and I had to have it. It's just got these beautiful veiny leaves and I love it. Over here I have a Potsii Chiang Mai in a little smaller version. In the back here I have a Hoya Marillii, which is a very underrated Hoya. I love the leaves and they're so fat and juicy. I have a propagation that I did of Hoya Crimson Queen. And the last Hoya I have under here is one of my favorites. This is Hoya Meredithii, and need I say more about those leaves? They're just beautiful. All right, so now we are turning around and facing the window area. Down here we have a Homelamina Maggie, which again is super underrated because it has these beautiful green, shiny, heart-shaped leaves. Up on this little plant stand, I have a Alocasia zebrina, which again loves to get spider mites. But you know, she's pretty, so we keep her around. And we have these beautiful zebrina-like stems. In this back section here, I have just a normal Philodendron Florida. I think there's like 2 plants or 3 plants in there, so it is quite nice and full. But you know, it's gonna need somewhere to climb soon because it's just kind of dropping onto the floor there. Next to that is one of my favorites, so I'll just pop it here. It's getting a bit top heavy. It is my Philodendron White Princess, and I love how the White Princess puts out some pink variegation to it. Like, you are so cute. We have a nice half moon leaf coming in there. Unfortunately, some of the white does brown off when it's very, very sectoral, but it is absolutely beautiful. On the windowsill here, I have a Peperomia Rana Verde. I also have a Hoya. This is a Hoya Velosa. This guy I've had for such a long time. Every single time it puts out new growth, it drops it. I fertilized it. I also don't fertilize it. I put it in light. I put it in less light. I don't know what it wants. So I don't know. Honestly, you're cursed. I then also have some propagations of string of hearts on the windowsill. And I have a little baby philodendron, what's this called? Silver cloud, that's it, not silver sword. And it is absolutely beautiful. Over in the front, I have this Anthurium crystallinum cross that I got from Foliage Freak, and it is honestly one of my pride and joys. It is so god dang beautiful. This one is a fairly recent acquisition that I got from Snippy Whippy off Instagram, and this is called a dark complex hybrid, and again, very stunning. Next to the anthuriums, I have this beautiful specimen of a Syngonium chiapens, which has some absolutely gorgeous matte green leaves. Like, you might say it's boring, but I say beautiful. Towards the front here, I have my mother plant of my Begonia Bill Morris, which is just an ugly begonia, but I love it. It's got these hairy stems. We have some propagations of my Monstera siltepecana that was in the kitchen. We have my mother plant of my watermelon peperomia, and he is a big boy. It is absolutely stunning, and I take so many propagations of this one. At the front here, I have another Hoya Crimson Queen. This is like my third one I have in the house, so you know I really like it. This is another fairly new plant that I got. It is a wish list plant. It is Philodendron melanochrysum. So just a little baby, but we love it, and that is its newest leaf. I love how they come out like a rusty kind of reddish brown color. Next to that is my Philodendron gigas, which is the plant I took a propagation of the one that's living in my grow tent. We have Philodendron Atabapoense here, which is another really underrated philodendron. It has these beautiful red backs to the leaves and this like really unique leaf shape. So if you like your more uncommon philodendrons, I would definitely go for this one. Another duplicate plant I have is this Hoya Hindu rope that just lives on the windowsill. We have another propagation of Begonia Bill Morris. I find these so easy to propagate and so rewarding. Look how cute that is. Here we have a Hoya Polynura, which is also struggling a little bit. It was getting a bit sun bleached. That's why it was getting these yellow leaves. This was in the bathroom, and I think the summer sun was a bit too intense for it. So I have moved it here, and it has started putting out some new growth. So I am really happy with that. The last plant on the shelf is this absolutely gorgeous Monstera deliciosa Thai constellation. And you can see why. It is absolutely beautiful. It's very, very hyped up, but I think it's totally worth it. I'm thinking about doing a little chop and prop because look at these insane aerial roots that we have. But you know, it might not be a good idea now that we in Australia are going into the colder months, so maybe I might wait until next year. But we have a new leaf coming out. It is this guy just here, and I'm so excited. The plant hanging up on the window is this heartleaf philodendron, which is just your plain green one, but I do like having this nice bushy plant hanging up there. I think it gives the room a nice jungly vibe. That's my dumpling. It's so cute. And then underneath my dumpling is my fiddly fig, which is quite a large plant. I did make a mistake, water it, and then I kept it onto my balcony to dry, and it got a bit sunburned. So if you are going to take your plants outside, don't let them get direct sun. It was a total accident, but now it's scarred for life. And the very last plant I have is another Monstera. This one likes to grow and hit me in the face when I'm sleeping, but I still love it. So it is this beautiful, luscious plant here. We have a ugly yellow leaf at the back there, but we can ignore that. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you made it to the very end of this, I appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, then please hit the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, then hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, bye.